welcome to Monday's Live. I'm so happy to see you and hope that you're doing well. I know we may have some people that have been affected by the hurricanes, and I hope that you are safe wherever you are. Sorry, I gotta get my Stampin' Lips on. Please let us know how you're doing and know that we're thinking about you. And if there's anything that we can do to help, please let us know. I have been seeing on social media some of the devastation from the flooding, and it's just unreal. And oh my goodness, my heart just goes out to you. We had a terrible flood in our community, gosh, about 15 years ago, and I know firsthand how just horrific flooding can be. So keeping you all in my prayers. And I know there's another storm coming, and oh my gosh, I hope it's not headed in the same direction. I haven't seen enough about it yet, but this is just, I knew there it was going to be a bad hurricane season. They'd been talking about that, but just crazy. So anyway, hopefully if you are watching this, this brings a little joy to your day. We've got some fun things to stamp. I have a little recap from my trip that I was just on. And I also have lots of fun stuff to share with you. Oh, and we're going to stamp. So it's going to be a good day. So first off, it's been a while since we've chatted because I was on sort of a little mini vacation with my sister last week. She had a business trip in California, and I tagged along for fun. And we had a lovely time. The weather was kind of crummy, but we made the best out of it. It was just so great to get away. I was just so happy to be away. So we kicked things off with Carl's first cross-country meet that we've been to. He's had another, but that was just so exciting. He did great. He was, of course, disappointed, but we thought he did really well. It was a very tough course in Minnesota. And let's just say it, I think it separates the men from the boys. And he said that it was really a lot longer. Like the difference between 8K, which he runs, and 8K is just shy of 5 miles, and the 3K or 5K that he used to run in high school, which is about 3.2 miles. He said it's a big difference, especially on a tough course. So he was a little rough at the end of his race, but we thought he did great. And, you know, he said the big difference is in high school, he could run down guys because they'd be dying at the end. And in college, they're all better trained. So it was a lot harder to do that, which, of course, I mean, that makes sense because not everybody runs in college, of course, only the dedicated, right? And then he said the Division I schools versus the Division II or III was just like, wow. Were my husband or I runners? No. No. And both of our kids ran, and we don't know where they came from. So my husband played football in high school, and I don't know if he did anything else. I think just football. He was like a linebacker, and Carl 100% has his like body type. Like he's a big guy. So Carl is 6'3", and he's built pretty broad. He's not built like a runner. I was a swimmer, a cross-country skier, and I was in track, but let's just say I was in track, meaning I was there for the social side of it. I think my senior year, I was just the manager. Like, I was not like a runner. If I did run, I ran a mile when I did run, but I don't even think I ran in my senior year, maybe just my freshman or sophomore and junior year. I don't know. I was not like really into running. So we don't know where our kids get it from. It's kind of funny. All right. So after the race, we got to spend time with him and hang out with him, which was just lovely. And my nephew and my sister at her house, and we spent the night. And then my sis. So then this is kind of funny. So my son says to us like the day before, he's like, "Well, I think I can spend the whole weekend with you guys." And I said, "Well, sorry, my sister and I are leaving for California Saturday morning." And so he's kind of like, "Oh." So he and my husband dropped us off at the airport early in the morning on Saturday. And then he and Carl went out to breakfast, and then Carl went to my aunt's house. And then they went to the Minnesota Iowa game, and I guess that was pretty fun. Carl was like, "Can you bring an Iowa shirt for me?" So I did, and my aunt was a little worried about him wearing an Iowa shirt in Minneapolis because let's just say it's a bit of a rivalry. I believe Iowa won. And so they had a good time at the game. And then my sister and I went to California. We spent a couple nights in Redondo Beach with some friends of hers, and that was really fun. And then we spent, her actual conference was in Manhattan Beach. See, I told you it was beaches, and I couldn't remember which ones. So we were in Manhattan Beach for 3 nights, and that was super fun. They're actually pretty close to each other, but it's just right around LA. So we had fun with that. No offense if you live in California, but I just really remember why I don't live there anymore. My husband went to grad school in Northern California, and between the expense and the traffic and the expense, but I will tell you, I really loved so much walking along the ocean. It's just so accessible from where we were. Obviously, if you live in those beach towns, it's really handy. But we had just such a great time walking along the ocean and seeing dolphins frolicking and just being in the presence of the ocean and the sound of the waves and all of that. I just loved all of that. So that was lovely. That is the upside to California, but the rest was kind of like, well, I think gas was $5-ish. I honestly didn't pay that much attention to it because we weren't driving anywhere, so I wasn't so like keyed into that really. But I guess I mean, it wasn't as much as I thought it was going to be honest. But I think we went into the grocery store, and that was pretty expensive. We ate out a couple places, and that was very expensive. And I don't know if that was because we were in beach towns or if that's just how much it costs. And then we did just a teeny bit of shopping, and that was expensive. So it was expensive. And then, of course, the traffic is just amazing. It's just amazing to me that people do that all the time. Like, I can't imagine. And I've heard that it's not as bad as it had been because a lot of people are still not working like in offices. And so the traffic used to be way worse, I guess. At least that's what we heard. So anyway, it's all crazy. It's crazy. And the hotel we stayed at was really cool. Of course, my sister's work paid for it. But I thought, oh, well, maybe we could stay one more night, and like I would pay for the one more night, since I got to do all of this, thinking, okay, I can probably swing whatever the rate is for one night, right? Oh no, it was like $800 for one night. And depending on when you were there, it was 500 to 6, 7, 8 and up. And all the rooms, I think, were about the same. I think the difference was the dates. Like, the weekend was way more expensive. And again, it's probably because you're on the beach. But so if you live there, the people we were staying with, they were saying that they've lived there for 20 some years, and they were saying that they bought at a really good time their house, and that it's, like so many places, it's worth so much more now. And they said their neighbors, so they have a 2 on a lot house, which I still don't quite understand what that is. It's like 2 houses on one lot, but they are connected, but they're not. They're totally separate. I don't know. I don't quite get it. But anyway, she said the people behind them, their mortgage is like $10,000 a month. Can you imagine? That's insane. I can't even wrap my head around that. Wow. Anyway, I'll just stay here in Iowa where there's no traffic and my house is not $10,000. Yeah, what is right. There's other words that I'd put in there too, but it's so crazy. And so then we were like, well, what do the people do that live in the behind your house? And she said he's a stuntman, like in the movies. Like, how crazy is that? And they, by the way, did not live on the ocean. They lived about 8 blocks, maybe more back. I mean, it was still plenty close, but it wasn't like on the ocean. I can't even fathom what those places were like, because we walked in front and you could see those houses and they're like unbelievable. And I was kind of like trying to look in, like, what can I see? Like, hi, I'm walking by your house, and it's not totally creepy that I'm totally trying to check it out and see what's inside. And then the interesting thing is, I think some of those houses were like beach houses for people. Like they're only there in the summer maybe. And I thought, I can't even fathom how much that would cost, right? I mean, that's just incredible. So California is just a whole nother world. It's all I can say. But I was totally trying to look inside the houses. You could see inside a couple of them, and it's kind of like, ooh, is anyone home? Ooh. So yeah. Anyway, we did go on one kind of exciting adventure. We went sailing. So the friends of my sisters that we stayed with, they took us sailing on the ocean out of the port of Long Beach, and that was something. First of all, if you've never seen the port of Long Beach, wow. Also, please, longshoremen, don't go on strike. The port is just enormous. I heard that it was the largest port in the Western Hemisphere, which is just incredible. And I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on and on and on. And the port it's got just tons of cranes and a bazillion containers. I mean, it's just everywhere. And then outside the port, there were lots of boats kind of anchored out. My guess was waiting to come in, get filled up, and then, take off. And maybe even a couple were waiting to come in and offload their cargo. But and then you could see the full container ships like way out in the ocean, like waiting to come in. And again, just like, wow, so impressive. And so we went sailing, and obviously we didn't even get particularly close to any boats, but close enough to like get a feel for how big they were. And it's just incredible. And I've been sailing before, but never on the ocean, like in a smaller boat. I've been in like on an excursion on one of my trips, like on one of our cruises with like super experienced sailors on a pretty big boat that's got, like crew member, like 4 to 6 or more crew members. That's the kind of sailing I've done, which is very different from the 4 people. We were not passengers, we were crew sailing on about a 30-foot sailboat. That was an interesting experience. So we learned about sailing, and let me just tell you, I don't think it's something I need to do like by myself or anything. It was fun to go, but there's a lot to sailing. Like you really got to know what you're doing. And when it was kind of funny when we got there, they were renting this boat, and the people who had it like on the weekend plugged the toilet, the head on a boat. It's called the head. And So there's like a checklist you go through before you go out on the water, and we'd go through the checklist and get everything set up and everything before you leave, so that everything's good. You don't want to get out onto the ocean like with an issue that you're not aware of, like the head not working. Although there's no way I could have ever like gone to the bathroom while we were on that boat, because you're going this way and then you're going this way, and that was not going to be happening. I held it for a while. Anyway, so we discover that something plugged the head, and the husband of my sister's friends, he was like, yeah, I'm not reaching down in there. It's not my boat. The owner can do that. So we had to call the owner to come. And when we got there, it was like cloudy, like marine layer fog. And so then we were waiting for him to fix the boat. Also, he had gloves like up to here. Anyway, so we had lunch, and then the sun came out, and it was totally calm when we got there. But once the sun came out and the fog burned off, the wind picked up, which is probably what helped burn the fog off. And so as we get out onto the ocean in this boat, it got like windy, and so there were white caps, and the waves were probably 2 to 3 feet, which wasn't huge, but when you're not used to that and you're in kind of a smaller boat, it's like, ooh. So then we get out, and then we're turning around, and let's just say my sister was driving, like she's on the wheel. My sister's name is Lisa, so I texted a picture of her to my family. I said, Lisa's the captain now. And then I was helping with some of the ropes, and when we would tack, which is when you switch directions, anyway, it was interesting. I was a little nervous, and by a little nervous, like I was really nervous, just because it turns out we were like the first people that weren't sailors to go out with these people. And I think they just need a few more experiences under their belt. Just saying. I did not get sick. I spent a lot of time on boats. Like we actually just until recently had a boat. We're going to have a boat again in the spring. We're between boats right now. So I've been on the water quite a bit. That wasn't much of a problem for me. I only ever gotten seasick once, and that was when we were crossing some weird current coming back from Bermuda on a Stampin' Up cruise. But anyway, I didn't get seasick, but I was nervous about the process and if we were going to make it. I mean, I knew in my heart we would be okay, but it was nerve-wracking, I'm not going to lie. So anyway, we had a lovely time. I was really happy when we made it back in the harbor because the waves settled down. And it was a lot of fun, but it was nerve-wracking. I'm not gonna lie. So anyway, I did get a little color that day because that was like the only day the sun came out. Every other day it was like really cloudy and kind of crummy, which was sort of a bummer. But anyway, it was funny. We were all so tired when we got back. I think because of the whole waiting around for the boat to work and trying to like be cool about that, and then being out there and not understanding exactly that we were like crew members, like for real crew members. And then I don't know, just the whole thing. So it was really tiring. Okay, did the theme from Gilligan's Island come to mind? 100%. So we are trying to decide who is who, and we were joking about James is his name. He was the captain, and then we were trying to decide who was his little buddy, Gilligan. So we were saying that was his wife. And then I guess my sister and I were Marianne or the movie star. I'm not sure which is which. But anyway, it was pretty funny. There was no professor. We probably could have used a professor. If Andy would have been with us, he could have been the professor. But luckily, our 3-hour tour, I wonder how many hours we were out there because it might have been about 3 hours. That's funny. It ended well. And I was like very well aware of the ocean and the weather and the wind. But luckily, we came home and we did not get shipwrecked anywhere. So that was good news. I did not see any movie stars. But the other thing I got to do, which was pretty cool. So my sister works for an architecture firm. And so she was at an architecture firm human resource thing, conference, whatever you want to call it. And one of the people who was there, the architecture firm she works for, designed and built the SoFi Stadium. So we got to have a tour of that, which was pretty cool. It was, first of all, in fact, I was like, okay, I don't even know how long this place has been open. I still don't really know that. And I didn't really know which teams played there till we got there. It's the Los Angeles Chargers and the Los Angeles, I think, Rams. So it was really interesting to see that. We got to see kind of the whole thing. We got to go in like the fancy club levels. We got to go out on the field. We got to touch the turf, like literally. And then we had dinner there and we were like expecting like hot dogs. We had tri-tip or wait, was that what it was? Something like that, something steaky. And then there was a chicken thing. And then there was this amazing orzo salad and a kale salad. And what else do we have? Like new potatoes and oh, there was something else that was super good too. I can't even think of it. Oh, green beans. And then there was for dessert there was these little cheesecake mousse cups. I had two. It was delightful. We got to go to the owner's box, which was really swanky. I don't know how much tickets are for that, but I'm guessing they were pretty spendy. I think we heard that parking is $160 to park there. And I don't know if it's like it's so expensive so that you'll take public transit, or if it's so expensive because it's California. My mind was kind of blown by that because I thought, well, if parking is that much, how much is a ticket? Doesn't that make me sound like I'm so from the Midwest? But or maybe I'm old. I don't know. It just was like incredible how much it would cost to go to a game, like by yourself, much less with other people like that you were paying for. I mean, like a family of 4 or something. Anyway, it was really cool to see the tour of it. And I'm sure that is the closest I will ever be to a professional football game. But it was pretty amazing. One of the things that really struck me was that the roof, it's like a retractable roof, and the roof was moored, or like, I don't know, in the ground. The corners of it were attached to the ground. What's the word? Completely separate from the stadium, the seating and the ground and all of that structure. They were completely, thank you, Susan, anchored. Oh my gosh, I couldn't think of the word. They were completely separate so that if there's an earthquake, they're not together. They will move separately. And then they said it would withstand 6 feet of movement. And I was sitting there thinking, I cannot imagine being in a stadium with like a gazillion other people and having an earthquake that moves up to 6 feet. I mean, that's a lot of movement. So I guess it's safe. But they said that the one end of the stadium actually goes over a tectonic plate. Wow. So anyway, okay. So those are my adventures. Oh, then there's one other thing I did. So we got home on Thursday night, pretty late. Like my flight was delayed a lot. I also did the Home Alone run through Chicago, and this is really kind of hysterical. So as I'm running from the furthest possible end to the other furthest possible end in O'Hare. I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but it's like Home Alone, run all the way through. They don't even show you the whole thing because it's so much further when you're coming in on a plane from one end and you're leaving on the other end. And so I'm running because my flight coming in was late, and I literally had like 10 minutes to get from one end to the other end. And I would say normally walking, it would take you a half an hour to get there maybe. And so I'm running. I'm so out of breath because I've got my backpack, I've got my purse, and I've got my stupid cup full of water, you know? And I see one of my team members, she's like, Dina, and I'm like, I gotta go, and I'm still running. And then when I get there, I'm so out of breath. And then it turns out that my assistant's husband was on my flight and he wasn't sure it was me, so he didn't say anything. And I'm like, oh my gosh, probably because I was like the hysterical lady trying to get on this flight. And I was so tired. Well, then we sat there for like another 40 minutes. And so I didn't have to run. I could have gotten dinner because I hadn't eaten since breakfast. So I asked the flight attendant if they had any snacks, and she gave me a bag of popcorn and some cookies, which was lovely. I really appreciated it. But I was kind of so bummed that I did all that. And then you get on the plane and you're like all sweaty and you're just frantic. But I made it home. All was good. And then I got up in the morning and Ella and I drove across the state to a wedding of my dear friend Krista's daughter, who's Ella's age. And oh my gosh, the wedding was just gorgeous. And it was just unbelievable. So my kids were friends with her kids growing up. She and I were good, very best friends. And we were just so devastated. In fact, if you've been watching me for a long, long time, she moved away about 10-ish years ago. And we were just so devastated when they moved away. And so this was the first time I had seen some of them in quite a long time. And the wedding was just so beautiful, but I was just like so struck by the fact that my daughter is the same age as her daughter who's getting married, and my daughter has a very serious boyfriend who will likely be getting engaged sometime soon. And so I said to Ella, I go, well, you should take some notes on this if there's stuff you like. And so she's like, Mom. And then she's like, yeah, I will. But we were both bawling because, I think the big thing is when they moved, their daughter was about 6, their youngest daughter. And now she's in high school and she's grown up and she was so beautiful and tall and beautiful and oh my gosh. And she's the one I hadn't seen for the longest time. And then their son was a year older than Carl, and now he's like a whole man and he has a beard, and that was crazy. And then of course their daughter Kalia is Ella's age, and she was a stunning bride. And we were just bawling. And then my friend Krista, she and her husband walked her down the aisle. And I was like, how did you keep it together? And she's like, well, I cried for an hour and a half this morning, so I was fine. And we practiced all the speeches, so I was fine. And so, because Ella and I just kept crying. It was so lovely. It was a lovely, lovely, lovely wedding. So anyway, that was fun. And then we drove home. So it's been a very, very busy few days. Anyway, that's my story. I know I've been talking forever, so I'm going to stop talking. Well, I'm almost done stopping talking. I've got some really fun projects to stamp with you today. But before that, I want to mention a few things that are happening. So today is the last day of September, and that means tomorrow is a new month. And usually that means there's fun Stampin' Up stuff coming. So I'm going to flip my camera so I can walk you through it all, and just holler if you have any questions about any of this good stuff. So a few things. First of all, there is a new starter kit special. You can get an extra $30 in free merchandise in your starter kit when you join Stampin' Up between the 1st and the 31st of October, which is a great, great deal. So you get $155 worth of products for just $99 plus tax no shipping. So it is truly the best deal we offer. And this is like an extra special good deal because of that additional $30. Normally you get $125. So the $155 is really pretty awesome. There are so many perks to being a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, but when you join with me and my team, we have all kinds of awesome things. We have weekly and monthly trainings. We have access to Stamp Happy Academy basic membership. That is something you can get for free as a demonstrator on my team. We do all kinds of fun things, including I have a team retreat coming up in November that you could attend if you join my team. So it's really going to be there's just so many things that are awesome when you join Stampin' Up. And I am super excited about this promotion. And I hope if you've ever thought about it, you'll join us. And of course, one of the best benefits is you get to pre-order stuff. And in fact, you can even take advantage of that with this starter kit special. I'll explain that in just a moment. But then you get a discount on all the things you purchase. There's no obligation. So if it just isn't for you, that's fine. But it's a really great opportunity. And then, of course, I have all kinds of fun perks and incentives for my team members, more than what I've even mentioned here. So we would love to have you join us. So that is happening starting tomorrow. I also have a new online class coming out tomorrow, which is the Season of Green and Gold. This is going to be a really awesome class where we're going to make cards plus gift tags in a boxed set, which are just going to be super fun. It's a great kit for the upcoming holidays, and it is going to be a really great class. I love the goodies that we've included in this one. So that's coming up. Also, starting tomorrow, there will be 2 new kits hitting the online store, and all the kits in the online store will be on special during the month of October for up to 30% off. And you can see what is what in the online store. So check that out, October 1st through the 30th. Best to shop early as kits do sell out. And then if it says unavailable, that means they will be restocked, just as an FYI. So watch for that. I'm excited about these kits because we've had some really great ones, and watch for some more information about that. I'm going to highlight some more kits coming up. Then I mentioned pre-ordering is one of the perks of being a demonstrator. So we have a new round of online exclusives for pre-order. So these will be available to customers in November, but as a demonstrator, I can pre-order these coming up starting tomorrow. And so this is just a small selection of what will be available. So we have the Hearts of Elegance, which is a really beautiful bundle with some heart dies and then some imagery and words that I just love the fonts on these. There's also a Happy Hibiscus bundle. This is going to be a stamp set, embossing folder, and coordinating dies, which just looks super fun. And then there's some other fun goodies like some gold twisted thread. I love this. There is some gift bag combo packs, so 2 sizes of gift bags in here, which will be great for the upcoming holiday season. The adhesive backed heart sequins, which look lovely. They come in 3 sizes. And then this gorgeous designer series paper. We've had something like this. It's been a while, and it was definitely different from this, but it's got gold foiling on it. And then on the opposite sides are just like solid patterns. It's going to be cherry cobbler, real red, melon mambo, flirty flamingo, petal pink, and gold. So, oh my goodness, this looks amazing. So I'm really looking forward to those goodies. And there will be additional items available. They're just not listed in here at the moment, or they're just not printed off. So the online store will have them. But if you're interested in joining, you can see what those are early, and you can add them to your starter kit, which is pretty cool. Also, if you are an email subscriber, I am going to be sharing this new reference, I guess, which is the annual, it's like an addendum maybe to the catalog, the annual catalog. So one of the big pieces of feedback we've gotten from the new catalog that came out in May is that there's no index for things like designer series paper, punches, and dies. And so Stampin' Up! Has heard our request for this, and they have created this 10-page reference. It's got all the papers in it. It's got all the dies in it. And then it's got the punches in one section so that you can see all of those things like we have often had in the past in the back of our catalogs. So you can print this off. I will be emailing this document out to my email subscribers probably tomorrow, but if not tomorrow, Wednesday, so that you can print this off and tuck it into your catalog if you'd like. I think it's going to be a really great reference to have and use with my catalog. So I hope you love that. All right, now it's time to do some stamping. So today I decided, well, actually, this is really funny. I did a boo-boo. So whenever I have my team meetings, I do door prizes. And I gave away what I thought was a spare bundle of the online exclusive tree set. And now I can't even remember which set it is because I've been going back and forth. But long story short, I was going to make cards with trees today, but I realized that I gave away my only bundle by accident. Well, it doesn't matter. Long story short, I hope whoever I sent it to, it wasn't the used one. And I don't even know. I'm not sure of anything anymore. Either I have lost my bundle or I think what I did was I gave away the one that I had, but I thought I had a spare. Long story short, tree cards next time. Today we're going to do Spotlight on Nature, which is such a fun set. And I thought this would be perfect because I think this is a really great set for fall. So that's what we're going to make cards with today. Now, as always, if you spend $50 or more in my online store, you will get today's projects mailed to you. If you spend $75 or more, you will also get embellishment to go with our projects. Now, our first card is going to be a fun little watercolor card. We're actually going to start it and then come back and finish it later. So I wanted kind of a fun set of colors for this card. So I picked Crushed Curry, Coastal Cabana, and Azure Afternoon. And I'm going to use kind of my favorite technique, which is to just take a piece of plastic. This is like window sheet, but this is actually a piece from a stamp set. Let me see if I can show you what I mean by that. In our stamp sets, so there's a thin piece of plastic and then there's a thick piece of plastic that your stamps are mounted on when you get a photopolymer stamp. I get rid of the thick piece and then I just cover up the stamps after I stick them in the case with the thinner piece. And then this thick piece, I have a whole bunch of these, like I've got a ton of them, because I've never thrown them away because I know there's something I can do with them. And this is what I do with them. So anyway, we're going to do this. It's just a really simple technique. I've shown this before. It's just one of my faves. So I'm going to take my ink pads. I don't particularly, well, yeah, I like doing this with spots because it's easier to control things. But for today, we're just going to carefully put our ink on here like this. We just, like, I didn't want to get my Coastal Cabana into my Crushed Curry. And then I'm going to do some Azure Afternoon. This one I'm less worried about mixing. And I've got quite a bit of ink on here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a spritzer. This is our Stampin' Spritzer just with water. I have it marked as water. And then I'm going to spritz this. And I'm spritzing it pretty generously because what I want to do is have those colors run together a bit. So, woo, there we go. Colors are going to run. And then I'm just going to put my watercolor paper. This is Fluid 100 watercolor paper on here. And this piece is bigger than what I actually need for my card. Mainly so that I can kind of cut the part of it that I like the most. But what I love about this technique is it's a really great way to get a lot of color onto your paper really quickly. Okay, and then I can just kind of dab things in and fill in spots where I need to. Oops. And so you can see I'm just picking up more color, and then it just kind of blends and bleeds together, which is some of the really great parts about watercolor paper. Oh, yeah, we'll just drip this on here. We can do that. Okay, that's fun. All right. And oh, look, I just love doing this. Now I'm going to get rid of this. Actually, I'm going to do this, setting that on my paper so that I don't get it ink all over other stuff. And I'll set that aside. Okay, so now I've got this, and I'm also going to take and just spritz this with some water, because that will continue to allow things to blend and bleed together. I'm also going to take the little spritzer out and sort of flick water on here from this thing. You know, it's going to give me droplets. I can do that with a water painter as well, but this is just handy because I got it right here. Okay, so I think that's good. And what that does is it kind of has little lighter and darker areas and everything. We're going to set this aside and come back to it. Okay, so that's our first card. We're coming back. Okay, now I'm going to put these away for a moment. Now what we're going to do is make our second card, and we're going to do a totally different technique on this. This is going to be an ink blending card. And so I'm going to take, pardon me, I made a card last week with this color combination, and I just can't stop looking at it. I love it so much. So this is Berry Burst, Cajun Craze, and Wild Wheat. And so we're going to take and make a card with a bit of a background with those colors. Now I'm going to start with a 3 7/8 by 5 1/8 inch, or no, maybe this is this is 3 3/4 by 5. All right, and I'm going to take my paper here, and then I'm going to use some masking paper. So you'll get a piece of masking paper in your card kit if you get a card kit. So what I like to do with masking paper is, let me show you a couple things about it. So first off, there's like this halfway through, you can peel off the backing, so you don't have to use the whole thing, is what I'm trying to say, which is handy for about what I'm about to do. But I'm just going to take my trimmer and cut off my piece. Let's see. I think I'll cut like this is about 1 3/4 of an inch, I'd say, off of this side, and then 1 3/4. Let's see. Yeah, that mostly works. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is, I don't really care if this is lined up exactly perfectly, but what I'm going to do is remove one of the pieces of this. Okay. And that will give me, actually, let me put this on. If you use grid paper, it really works well because you can line everything up so that it's nice and straight. So I'm going to put, roughly an inch. I'm going to cover up on the bottom. Okay, and now I don't have the whole thing covered with this, which is really handy. Then I'm going to take this smaller piece, that's the other section, and I'm going to pull off the backing. But I'm going to, first of all, the trickiest part of the whole thing is getting the backing off. There we go. I'm going to peel this off, but what I'm going to do is take and put, and you can't see this, I'm putting this on my pants to pick up a little bit of the lint on my pants. And then I'm going to put
about a little less than an inch. I'm going to mask off the top. Okay, so there's a little more on the bottom and a little less on the top. It doesn't really matter. All right, it's just an arbitrary thing. Okay, now what I'm going to do is take an ink blend on here. So I've got my blending brushes. I think this one will work for wild wheat. And we're going to ink blend on here. And these colors might not seem like they would work together, but they do, and I love it. Okay, so I've got wild wheat. Then I'm going to take some Cajun craze. And we're going to kind of work this in. And what I want for this is to have some of each of the colors to show on here. So it's not all just one color. And I'm overlapping a little bit of the wild wheat and the Cajun craze, but not like crazy. And then if it's splotchy, don't worry too much because we're going to come in and add our third color, which is Berry Burst. And I just love these colors for fall. I did a really pretty fall leaf card. You can see it on my blog. And it's just so pretty. Okay, so we'll fill that in. And we'll fill this over here in. Okay, so we just have this kind of area on our panel of, this was very vanilla, that we've ink blended. And I'm going to come back and add just a little bit more. That was a lot more wild wheat. I like vibrant colors when I ink blend. I don't know about you guys. But there we go. Okay, that looks great. Now, I'm going to leave the masking paper on because the next thing we're going to do is take the leaf image from our bundle, the Spotlight on Nature bundle, and we're going to stamp this on here. Okay, so I'm going to stamp, or I'm going to ink this up in some wild wheat and stamp it right there. I'm going to ink it up in some wild wheat and stamp it right here. So pretty. And then that looks good to me. Now what I think I'm going to do is, no, I'm going to keep, yeah, I'm going to do one more layer. So I want to clean my stamp off. Let me get my chamois. Okay, so I've got a nice clean stamp. Now I'm going to use my Cajun craze, and I'm going to stamp right there. So we are both masking and ink blending on this card. So there's that. And then I'm going to remove my masking paper. You want to do it a little carefully because if you rip it off, you know, too forcefully, you can kind of pull, like rip the paper a little bit. Now what I wanted to show you that I like doing is I like saving my pieces so I can reuse them. So I just am going to throw this on the package because that'll peel off when I want it to next. And I actually can, well, get part of this on here anyway. And then we'll peel this off like so. Now you could also use a dark color like maybe early espresso or something on here. You don't have to use the colors I've picked. You can do whatever you want. As in terms of stamping, you can use whatever colors you want for any of this. But okay, so then what I'm going to do is clean my stamp once again. And I'm going to stamp, this time going off that border. Okay, so I'll take and I'm trying to do these in, you know, a little different direction. Ooh, so there's that one in Berry Burst. And then we'll do another one over here in Berry Burst, like that. Oh, how cool is that? All right. Now, if you wanted to, you can also add some other kind of collage-y images. So we've got this little crosshatch design. There is like a little dotted design, and I think, isn't there? I thought maybe there was another design. Where's my stamp set? Oh, no, just the two. Okay, so I can add these to my card as well. And I'm feeling a little like some early espresso, because why not? Okay, so I can just add a little crosshatch on here in a few spots. Like so, and then a few dots. And, you know, I'm being a little careful with this. I don't want it to be too much. I don't want it to be like the major focus of this. I just want it to kind of look nice. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is take my sentiment. This is from our stamp set. It says, Dear Friend. I'm going to stamp that right there in some early espresso ink. Oh, so pretty. Okay, now what I'm going to do is we're going to put this together on our card. So I've got a piece of crumb cake cardstock for my card base. And then a piece of Berry Burst to layer this on. And I just love that with the Berry Burst stamping. I think it looks really wonderful. So we'll go ahead and adhere those two layers together. And then we're going to take some of our ribbon. This is the Wild Wheat and Cream ribbon, I think. Or no, that's the wrong roll. It's Wild Wheat ribbon from the mini catalog. And we're going to just put a little on here. Oopsies. Okay, now I'm going to show you another version of this card in just a moment. I got the idea for this. I changed it up quite a bit, but I got the idea for this card from one of my team members, Melissa. We do a monthly card swap with our team, and this was her card. Oops. I think it was in last month's swap, and I really liked it. Okay. So we've got that, and then I'm going to pop this up. Like so. Now the other thing you can do with this that's kind of fun is you can put a little panel on the inside of the card that's going to match. And who would have thought those colors were going to look so good together? I think they are just so perfect for fall. Oh, gosh, I'm so glad you guys like this one. Yay, that makes me happy. And it's really simple. And what I love is you can do it in so many colors. And here's what I mean by that. Here is Melissa's card. She used kind of some greens into Pretty Peacock. And I feel like hers had water involved in it. I don't think it was watercolored, but I think maybe she spritzed water on here or something because there's kind of that watercolory look. But I really liked her card. So thank you so much for that one, Melissa. And that's really where the idea came from for this one. Now, I do want to embellish a little bit. And I want to show you how I'm storing my embellishments lately because I was frustrated. I used to have them in drawers, but we actually have quite a few embellishments now. I need to put like a little tab on it, but I thought you would appreciate this. So this is an IKEA small sized thingy. It's got little handles on it. There's bigger bins, but this is the small size of them. And I don't know what the name of it is, but, oh, maybe it says on the bottom if there's a label. It's a, nope, no name. It's a 103.351.06. There you go. I'm sure there is a name. Anyway, I got these little clear envelopes. They are a little different sized than, say, the envelopes that our dies come in. That's this size. They're a little bit different. I like that they're easier to get in and out of because they're opening on the side versus the top, like our dies. Packets are, but you could use those as well. What I want to do is label each of these with my label maker, and I've just put all of my embellishments in here. So there's what I love is, like, if I have multiple packages, I can put them in together and keep everything organized, like here, like this, and I can kind of spread them out, as you can see, throughout that whole folder. But what I really love about these is they will hold any size embellishment that we have, including the bigger sized embellishments. So I think like this, like the sequins, they do stick out of the sequins just a touch, but it's, you know, no biggie to me. It also holds kind of our other types of embellishments like these. So it's really fun. I have them organized by, like, I have this section is online exclusives. This section is, or there is a mini catalog section, and then there's just the regular embellishments, which I just kind of love. Okay, so anyway, they all fit in here with plenty of room. You can see, so I can easily flip through them. And like I said, I'm going to have like tabs. So for instance, I have all the dots. So if you look at the name of our embellishments, these are tinsel gems. So this is going to be a gem. If it has gem in the name, they're together. Then I have a pearl section, a dot section, and is there anything else? Then a, like, kind of whatever. So like this is a adhesive backed disc. So that's how I've organized these. I think it's just super handy, and it makes it so much easier to find what I'm looking for. So that's what I'm doing here with these. Okay, now as for our project here, I want to embellish this, but with what? Ooh, would this work? Maybe. I don't know. Ooh, but those would work. Maybe we'll do these. Okay. So the cool thing is, like, when I'm using one, I can just turn it on its side so I can remember where it goes to put it back. So these are the Neutrals adhesive backed sequins. All right, so let's put some of those on here. And oh, the brown ones are going to be fantastic. Love it, love it, love it. All right, so let's put some of these on here like so. And I just think these are going to look fantastic. I'll put one more over here like that. Oh, okay. Now, I know I've been blah, 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 chatty, but I want to do one more quick thing. And this is, again, kind of why I love saving those strips of my masking paper, because we can reuse them. So I'm going to take the 2 strips that I had, that I saved, and let's use my paper once again. We'll line this up, and all that I want on here is like like a little section that would be DSP, if I had DSP that I was using, if you know what I mean. Okay, so I just want to do roughly a 3/4 inch chunk of this, and then I'm literally just going to pull the color that was left over on my brushes, and I'll kind of do berry in the middle. So this is going to be a little lighter, you know, it's just what's left on my brush. And then I'll just stamp a couple of these on here. And then we will have a super cool kind of made for the inside strip of frankly designer paper. Okay, and then when I pull that off, oh my gosh, it's just like the magic reveal. And look at how cool that looks. It's all coordinated to our card. So beautiful. And you can do this, you know, with so many different things. And then I'm just going to stick those sheets right back onto my little package of masking paper. And then what I can do is stamp my other sentiment on the inside, which says, thanks. And P.S., even this would be a cute card. You could throw this on a card base, and that would be a lovely card. But it is going on the inside of our card. So where did my adhesive go? We'll put that on the inside. And I could even add, I didn't before I pulled my masking paper, but I could even add a little bit of those dots in here just to kind of, there we go. So fun. Isn't that just super cool? I just love ink blending. Sometimes I forget how fun it is. Ooh, Courtney said you could do the envelope flap too. That's a great idea, Courtney. I don't have any envelopes handy, but yes, you totally could. Totally. It's a great idea. What are the clear storage pockets? Mary, I will post a link to them for you after this video. Yeah, I will put this in my video links and on my blog post tomorrow so that you can get them. They're pretty inexpensive too, which I like. Okay, so there you go. Now, if you don't have access to this cute little IKEA bin, I can even tell you how big it is, because it is, let's see, that's 6. It's about 9 by 6 by, well, let's see, by just under 4 inches tall. Okay, so 9 inches by 5 inches by 4 inches tall. All right. And I'll take a picture of it and throw all that on my blog so you can see all that information. Okay, there's our first card. That's technically our second card because we're coming back to the first one. All right, our next card is another really fun one. And I am going to get my papers here. I'm going to use some designer series paper. And I have a piece of the Country Woods designer series paper and a crumb cake card base. Once again, and I chose crumb cake because I wasn't 100% sure what color I wanted to color our flowers. We're going to stamp our flowers here on this one, and I wasn't positive what color we were going to use, so I thought crumb cake would work with basically any color. So you can do a lot of different things with this, but I'm going to start with a, let's see, a 2 1/4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of Very Vanilla. And I like using Very Vanilla a lot in the fall because it just goes, you know what I mean? And so I'm going to take and stamp this in some black Memento ink. Now, those of you who haven't seen this, I took Stampin's white uninked craft pad. It comes with a white refill, but I used a Memento refill instead to make this ink pad, and I will link all of those things in my information here. And I'm just going to stamp this. I'm stamping it in black Memento so that I can color it with some Stampin' blends. Now you could do this in a wonderful variety of colors. That would look wonderful. All right, so I just kind of went across here. And so it really is kind of up to you as to what color you want to do. I thought what might be kind of nice was maybe some, let's see, either, and we can vote on this because I love it when we vote. I was thinking either Cajun Craze or Berry Burst. I know I used berry on my card already, but gosh, it's such a pretty color for fall. So Cajun Craze, you know, which is kind of a rusty color, or Berry Burst. We're going to add a little touch of wild wheat. That's why I'm kind of going between those colors. So let me know what you think. In there. Oh, Wendy, thank you. You're just the best. And yes, thank you for the likes. Oh, that helps so much. All right, so Karen voted Berry Burst. Anyone else? Sonia said Cajun Craze. Judy said Cajun Craze. Ooh, Cheryl said, ooh, lots of Cajun Crazes are coming in. Another thing is we could do both colors. I didn't offer that up as an option. Oh gosh, a lot of you are saying Cajun Craze. Okay, I like it. All right, so I'm going to pull up my Cajun Craze blends. And if you wanted a little more variation in color, you could also use your Calypso Coral blends because they will go nicely with this. Oh, now I see a bunch of Berry Burst people coming in. Maybe we'll do a little bit of each, and that might be nice. I know that was the color scheme of our first card, but gosh, it's perfect for fall, don't you think? Okay, so I'm going to take my Cajun Craze marker. I always like using the bold, or the bullet tip. That's what I meant to say. Because I think it really works best for blending, and it preserves the tip better. So I'm going to do the smaller flowers in Cajun Craze, but I love when we vote. Do you guys like when we vote for stuff on cards? I think it makes things a little more interactive, you know. Let's see, not the big one, but the little ones. Okay, so I just did dark. Then I'm going to come back and blend it with my light. And you know what I think I might do? I might switch up to my Calypso Coral because I don't like the color that's kind of coming out of here. Oh, that's too light. Let's try this. It's a little earthier. There we go. Well, that's probably going to be, that's very similar in color. Maybe we'll stick with this. I don't know what to do. I kind of like this light. Okay, so I'm using the dark. The dark, I had a little bit of the Cajun Craze, but now I'm bringing in my Calypso Coral, and I kind of like the light Calypso Coral mixed with the dark Cajun Craze. So that's kind of just mixing things up. I like that it's a little pinkier versus the browner tone of the Cajun Craze. So I think Calypso Coral is a little pinkier, which I like in my flowers. But we may come back and add some other things to this because I kind of liked the little addition of the Calypso Coral Dark. So this might be just kind of a mixture of things, but it's my card and I can do what I want. But I think it'll look really nice too when we add the Berry Burst. So let's go with the Calypso Coral Dark and see what happens. Ooh, I do like that. So I'm just adding a little more color. Whoa! Went outside the lines too much. I've got a solution to that here we'll cover in just a moment. Oh, fantastic. Okay, we'll fix that, don't you worry. All right, now Berry Burst. Since we're going to do both, I want to start with my dark, do the same exact thing. Oh, love this. Such a fan of the Berry Burst. So I'm just kind of drawing on here where there are lines in the stamp. I'm putting color with my dark. And then we'll come back in and blend it with the light marker here in just a moment. So in case you're like, why is she putting lines all over this flower in these weird spots? It's because those are the lines on the stamp. And then it's the shading that's kind of built into the stamp image, so I know where it should be darker. And then we're going to blend that with the light. Now when you blend with your blends, you want to go over the areas you went over previously to get the best blending or the more seamless blending. And then sometimes, depending on the color, like this one, I feel like the light and dark are somewhat similar to one another, so I might come back in with a little bit more dark to really just highlight those dark areas. But this is such a pretty color, and I'm kind of glad we did go ahead and do both colors on here. Now, you could also, I could have stamped this in early espresso. The reason I chose not to is actually because my early espresso takes a while to dry. I don't know if it's early espresso specific or my ink pad specific, but it does take longer to dry than other ink colors. And so I feel like because of that, I didn't want to wait for it, but you could have done early espresso on here and that would have been lovely as well. I'm just adding a little more highlights with my dark. Okay, and then our third color is going to be my, oh, where are you? Here we go. Wild Wheat Blends. All right, so I'll start with my dark. And there's a lot of lines on the leaves, so I'm just going to kind of go at the very tip and the very base of each of these because that's where those lines are a little darker. So pretty. And I am just a ginormous fan of Wild Wheat as a fall color. I think it's so pretty. I know some people are not huge fans of Wild Wheat, and I don't want to say you're wrong, but you are a little. I'm kidding. You're not wrong if you don't like it, but I think it's an underrated color, and I love it. In fact, I would even go so far as to say if it became a part of our permanent collection, I'd be thrilled. Don't worry, that won't happen anytime soon. But if it did, I would not complain one bit. I just think it's a wonderful color. Okay, and we'll just fill in between with our light. Remember that we go over the areas we already colored for the best blending. And then I'm going to share a little tip I have for that little spot I went out of the lines on how to hide that. And it's fabulous. I know you're going to like it. Okay, now I'm going to do a couple things here. First off, I'm going to take my blending brush. I've got my Wild Wheat here. There's not a ton of ink on here. I haven't added any more from our previous project, but I'm just going to blend a little ink along the bottom. I just think that adds some richness to our coloring, which is lovely. Okay, then, so you might consider that like the ground or the grass or whatever. Then I'm going to take my kind of, we'll say, generically colored aqua. This might have been Calypso Coral. This might have been Pool Party. Who knows? And I'm just going to blend a little color on the top. to give it kind of the essence of sky. It's not necessarily sky, it's just a little color. And that just sets off my whole image as kind of being a little more complete, if you know what I mean. Okay, then I went outside the lines pretty hardcore right over there. So we're going to take and kind of fix that. I'm going to use the dark Cajun Craze because that was one of the colors. That was actually, I think, the color I went outside the lines with here. And I'm going to take the brush end and put it in my cap and flick. Now, if you've ever done this spritzing before with a Stampin' Write marker, you need to flick even less with a blend because it really comes out kind of like crazy. What I love about it is you get a little bit more variety in the blotches in terms of size. So I did some with the dark Berry Burst and the dark Cajun Craze, and look at how awesome that looks. Just really adds a nice look about it. I could even do some dark color, and for that I'm going to use this 100 marker. This is kind of the neutrals. I think that's the right one. And I'll just flick that a little bit to add some more flicks, some more colors. This is a really great way to just, I don't know, just add some interest to this card. Now, if we're going to flick ink, we may as well flick Stella, because let's be honest, that's awesome. And so I'm just going to smack my Stella on here as well. And that will give shimmer on these beautiful flowers. Okay, so there we go. Oh, what a masterpiece this already is. Now let's make up the rest of our card. Okay, so for this, I thought it would be kind of cool if we took and added a section of torn paper to go with kind of our shabby chic paper. So I'm just going to rip the edge of this. It's way too long, but it's just what I had in my scrap drawer. And I'm going to add this to the bottom edge here, which I think is fantastic. I'll adhere it to the back and then just trim the excess. But you just need a little bit hanging out the bottom. And oh, so pretty. And I think this will also kind of help set everything off. There we go. Lovely. Then what I'm going to do is adhere it to my designer series paper. And doesn't that look fantastic? I mean, it just, that ink that we put on the bottom and the top, I think really makes this whole thing just kind of pop off the card and look rather phenomenal, if I can just say. I mean, I realize it's my card and I'm kind of talking it up, but I love it. Okay. Now, I just happen to have some Sunshine and Creativity delivered kits. We used this bundle on our kit from a couple months ago. And I do have some additional kits of those left over. And I'm about to drop an online class sale starting tomorrow. So you can get this kit at a discount. I've never actually offered a discount on my Sunshine and Creativity delivered kits. So this is kind of a big deal. So I've got this and a whole bunch of other ones. It is limited to the stock that I have on hand. So watch your emails for this. If you're not on my email list, make sure you get signed up, because it will be first come, first served. And by the way, the cards for this kit are pretty awesome, if I can just say. Okay, but you can also get the cards for this kit that I'm making today if you shop my online store. So great opportunity for some goodies here. Now I'm going to stamp my sentiment on here, and I think I'm going to use Early Espresso because that'll go nicely with my card. And this is a circle that I die cut with the little Spotlight on Nature dies, the circle dies that are part of this bundle. And then I think we can even spritz these really quick so that they kind of coordinate. Okay, like that. And I'm trying to decide if I want to put some color. Maybe I'll do kind of the same color scheme where I've got some wild wheat on the bottom and some whatever my generic aqua color is on the top. And then, oh, perfect. Now to finish this off, I'm going to take some of my Essentials linen, or Essentials basic Essentials baker's twine. I was getting there. And I'm just going to tie a bow on here. And then we'll add our circle on top of this. It's so pretty. Oh goodness, I just pulled one but not all the strands here. There we go. Okay, I fixed it. Whew. Oh my goodness, I love this one. I'm really glad we ended up doing the two colors because I think that looks quite good. Okay, I'm going to pop this up on here. And don't you love it when your card turns out even better than your original plan? I think that is just fantastic. Okay, so there's our thanks. I'm going to scooch my bow so it's kind of right next to that, like so. Oh, I do really like this one. And then I kind of like locking the twine in with my adhesive. And look at that beauty. Oh, she's a gorgeous one, isn't it? The base color of the card base is crumb cake because it goes with everything, and it is crumb cake season. I don't know if you guys knew that. It's official. So I really love this one. And uh-oh, sounds like Polly's having a hard time. I'm so sorry, Polly. I'm not sure what's going on. I have to go back in the comments, but sending you some love, my dear. All right, now for the inside of my card, I just have a little leftover from my designer series paper, so I thought I would just adhere that to the edge, but maybe we'll stamp on here. Maybe we'll stamp our stamp. I'm going to do it in Cajun Craze. That way I don't have to color it in, you know what I mean? Get my scrap here. So I kind of have this at an angle because I'm going to put my designer series paper kind of right through that section like that. Okay, but to get some of the berry burst color, I just did a little berry burst spritzing. How do you like that? That brings in both our colors, and then everything is matchy-matchy like you planned it that way. Even if you didn't necessarily, but you should probably put your cardstock on straight. Sometimes I really struggle with that in videos because I tend to be looking at things in a little bit weird of an angle because of my camera being in the way. It just is what it is. And I gotta tell you guys, I came into this video with a clean desk. I had freshly cleaned my desk. I was so proud of myself. It looks so good. And now my desk is a flippin' disaster, but that's how you know you're doing a good job. Okay, so there's my card, and then we're just going to embellish with some of our sequins here. I think the copper is going to be fabulous. So we'll put a couple on here like that. And then so pretty. Isn't this awesome? All right. Sorry, I'm scrolling back. Oh my gosh, Sonia. This card deserves a room in the Louvre. You're so sweet. That's really sweet. Ooh. Sounds like Polly hurt her arm. Oh, I'm so sorry. That's no fun. Is it your stamping arm? I hope not. Shattered your humerus. 9 screws. Oh my gosh. Holy moly, girl. I'm so sorry. Well, we are sending you the love, my dear. All right. Now it's time to come back to our card. Oh, only got to figure out what I did with it. That's drying. Oh gosh, I thought I dumped my card in my ink pad. Well, we're gonna close the ink pads. Let's see, Cajun Craze goes up there. Black. All right, now who can tell me where did I put my watercolor? Oh, here it is. Okay. Ooh, still not dry. Goodness, we're gonna have to help it along. Okay, one of the things, so the watercolor paper that we carry is 100% cotton watercolor paper, which is wonderful. It helps things bleed and blend really nicely, especially in techniques like this. But where it's a bummer is it takes a longer time to dry because it literally absorbs into those cotton fibers. And so that takes longer to dry than if it were just wood pulp based paper. But what I love is you get a really nice blend on your paper. So you can see I'm heating it on both sides. That helps it dry more evenly, and you can see it kind of flattens out when I do that versus if I just did the one side. So I think that's really helpful. And you want to touch it, and it's going to need to feel like bone dry, not even a little moist, because we're going to stamp on here. And if it's not dry, it'll bleed, and we don't want that. Okay, so I want a 3x4 inch piece of this, and I'm going to cheat and use my old Stampin' Up cutter. I think it cuts a little better. So 3x4 inches, and I kind of want, well, I'm going to cut a little off the top, a little off the bottom. I love the blue. Okay, so 3x4. And I think, well, I will tell you that the colors I got out of here weren't exactly what I thought I was going to get. And that's part of why I didn't choose my colors for my card base yet. But I think I'm going to do Azure Afternoon and then layer it. I might layer it with black. I was gonna layer it with, maybe this will work. Ooh, I kind of like this. Well, that could be fun. Okay, so I've got my Azure Afternoon, and where's my bone folder? Got too much stuff out. Let's get rid of this so you can see what I'm doing a little better. Now, I cut off these little pieces here. We're going to hold on to those because they can go on the inside of our card. I always love putting some coordinating things on the insides of our cards. Now, one of the stamps we haven't used yet is this butterfly that comes in this set, and I love this stamp. It's just gorgeous. And so I am going to stamp this on here, and I'm going to use, I think I'll use my Memento. You could use Memento. You could also use Stays On. It's kind of up to you. One thing I love about Memento is it cleans off your stamp really nicely. I also love when I use this ink pad, the uninked white ink pad for my Memento. I find that it inks really nicely on here. Now, when we stamp on our on our watercolor paper. You can see I held it there for quite a good amount of time. I want to make sure that the ink has time to come off the stamp onto the paper and absorb into that fiber a bit. And we did pretty good. One kind of hanging off the card like that. Okay, so there's our butterflies, and maybe I'll even do kind of a halfsy on right there. Okay, super pretty. Okay, swear I'm done. And then, oh, look at how easy it is to clean that off with my chamois. It works great. Okay, so I've got that cleaned up. I'm going to close this up. Now, I want to take my card base here, and we're going to stamp, where is my, oh, here it is. My ink pad was already out. We're going to stamp our background of our card like this. Kind of changing up the direction and how much is on and off the page. Now this will dry a little lighter as it dries out. And then we're going to add this. So it won't be quite as busy. Trying to decide if I want this piece or if I want a whole panel. I kind of like the, you know, the different look with it, but we'll see. All right, I'm going to set that aside for a moment. And I'm going to take my clear Wink Stella and color those butterflies. You could also color in with some literal watercolors if you wanted, like, you know, with a water brush and everything. It's up to you, but I love the Wink Stella on here because I think it's just so pretty. Now I have to confess to you, my Wink Stella is all, like I have 4 Wink Stellas and they're all just about out, which is not good. I squeeze this a little to kind of get the wink flowing, so to speak. But I'm just kind of blending these on here, and you can pick up some of the black from your ink pad, so be careful with that. And if that happens, you just need to kind of wipe it off on a scrap paper. And now I can see it's really flowing. So I'm trying to kind of put that in the open areas of the wings so it doesn't distract from the lines of the wings as much, too much. One thing that's tricky about Wink Stella is it's a little hard to control exactly what's happening. But I also like that about it as well. You know, it's kind of fun. Ooh, that's coming out. And then, of course, the other thing we can do, this one looks like it hardly has any because it came out a little more feverishly after I squeezed it. Okay, so the other thing we can do with this is spritz, because spritzing's always good. Oh, that's some good spritzing. A little got on my card and that's no problem. But, oh, look at that. So much shimmer. So pretty. Okay, so then, oh, look at our piece of cardstock is not straight. So let's make that straight to start off. That's funny. Okay. And then I'm just going to adhere it like this. I do kind of like that. It's just a little something different and kind of fun. To do a layer like that. Okay, now I have 2 circles that I die cut. Let me just get them off my plate here. They're fresh out of the fresh out of the machine. So I've got one for the inside and one for the outside. So the outside one is this little one, and it's going to say just for you. And I think I'll stamp this in my Azure Afternoon ink. So just for you. And these are from the So Sincere stamp set, which is, that's, or no, not that one. Sorry. It's around here somewhere. Possibly. Maybe. So Sincere. This one's been around for a little bit, but I love this teeny little just for you. And this goes with this teeny little circle. And ooh, I almost, well, this was gonna go on the inside with another sentiment. I think we'll fit. Ooh, I don't know if that's gonna fit in there. Maybe we won't use this. Maybe we'll take an ink blend this real quick. But what color do we ink blend with? Such a tricky choice. I think I'm going to go with Azure though. Okay. This is just a quick way to get some Azure cardstock without having any handy. Okay, so I just colored this with my Azure ink pad, ink blendy style. And then we're going to add it to our card like this. So first off, let's put this on our card. I'm going to pop it up. Like that. And I'm going to add this. But between that, I'm going to put a little touch of this checkered ribbon. I think it might be too big. Yeah, it's too big. Maybe we'll use our good old black baker's twine. And I'm just going to tie a bow and then kind of pop this up over the bow. So it's nothing particularly fancy. It's just going to go on here like that. And then this goes over the top. Yeah, that works better. Oh, so fun. Okay, so we'll adhere this directly to our card. It's going to hang off just a little. We're going to stick. Now, the thing though is this is still kind of wet because we, ink blended it. So let's dry it off so that the adhesive will stick. Getting better. Otherwise, she's going to fall right off. Oh, my adhesive stuck, so that's a really good sign. And then I think I'll just put like a mini dimensional on the top and bottom of this. Like so, to take up the space of my bow. And then, last but not least, we'll add some of our sequins. And I think I'm going to use these kind of silvery whitish ones because they are just kind of perfect for what we have happening over here. Like that. And oh, so fun. Then we're going to throw a piece of white on the inside, of course. And then we're going to use this leftover piece that we trimmed off of our cardstock. Or I shouldn't say our cardstock, our Fluid 100 paper. And that's perfect. You could even throw, another hunk of it on here if you wanted. And I kind of like it with just this. So I'll stick with that. And there you go. What fun. Oh my goodness. So you can get a free card kit for these fantastic cards. I had to do a card that wasn't the same color scheme as this first couple. You can get a card kit for these for free when you spend $50 in my online store between now and Sunday, I believe that's going to be the 6th. Yeah, Sunday the 6th. And then if you spend $75 or more, you will also get these sequins included in your card kit, as well as the All-Star tutorial. Now, if you order today, the All-Star tutorial is the Unbounded Beauty. If you order tomorrow, it's the Splendid Autumn. So that is coming. But such fun cards. I hope you loved them so much. If you are watching right now or later on, the thumbs up would just rock my world. It helps so much, you guys. YouTube just loves it when you like my videos. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. That really helps me as well. There should be a little subscription box to click. Otherwise, friends, I will see you right back here next Monday for another live with the Creativity Cave. And thank you guys so much for being here today. I hope you have a fabulous week. To our friends who are in the flooding and destruction of the hurricane, please know our thoughts and prayers are with you. Please reach out and let us know if there's anything we can do. We hope you are safe and dry wherever you are. So thank you all again, and I'll see you soon. Bye.